Hello dear participants, welcome back to the last session and this workshop. Today I am going to give some introduction about 2D NMR because 2D NMR is a huge technique. There are variety of technique. We need to study in detail, but I am not going into details because it will take a lot of time. It is a separate course. But I would like to introduce, since we have seen in the workshop the techniques, NMR technique and several other techniques, this is the next level. You must know 2D NMR in order to solve some complex structures. All the spectroscopy we have seen is enough or sufficient for the structural elucidation of simple molecules. But if the molecule is complicated or if the molecule is big, like drug molecules or natural products, if it is protein, can you able to see that? Can you able to deduce each CH2, CH3 or benzene ring, several benzene ring connected together and the stereochemistry involved, all of them cannot be just predicted by one-dimensional NMR, and we need 2D NMR for that. I am going to give just a glimpse of that. I am going to just introduce, and I would like to stimulate your thinking towards 2D NMR. That's the purpose of this course, because we cannot deal completely about 2D NMR. Okay, let us see. But what are the techniques? There are several techniques available in 2D NMR, and there are several other techniques are growing day by day, and therefore, and these are the some of the technique. COSI is called as the basic two-dimensional NMR spectroscopy is COSI, which is called as a correlation spectroscopy. There is another spectroscopy called total correlation spectroscopy, that is called as TOCSI, and there is another important spectroscopy called nuclear over-Asar effect spectroscopy, which is very important in protein molecules and like that. And HMBC, heteronuclear multiple bond correlation, or HSQC, heteronuclear single quantum correlation spectroscopy. These are all several techniques, and in C13 NMR we also have depth 90, depth 135, other different kinds of spectroscopy. These are all advanced technique which help to determine the structure of some complex molecule. For simple molecules you can take, but it is useless. We can elucidate the simple molecules by 1D NMR, no issue about that. But if your molecule is complicated, a little bigger, then NMR spectroscopy may not give you the clear-cut idea. Okay, we will see what is the difference in between the one-dimensional and two-dimensional NMR experiment. How do they do that? Okay, they produce or they make slight changes in the normal NMR technique to have a new technique. Actually, what they change? In NMR, there are some basic principle while recording the NMR. There is a radio wave pulse is given, and we also know decoupled spectrum when irradiation is when the protons are separately irradiated, the coupling is avoided. There are several techniques that we know, and there is another one technique called as principle called as relaxation time, and that during the relaxation time the relaxation actually recorded. Okay, this is how we record an NMR spectroscopy. But here in 2D NMR they try to give more than one pulse. Sometimes sometimes they change the degree of angle of pulse, sometimes 45 degree and sometimes 90 degree and sometimes it is 135 degree depending upon the technique. And there will be two 90-degree pulse and one 90 degree, 145 degree. They make such kind of changes to record a different instrument. Why do they make such changes? Because making such changes, they get some useful information about the structure. That is why they are doing that. And they are also increasing or decreasing the number of pulse, and they are playing with the relaxation time and the recording time. All these play vital role in NMR. They make changes among them to record a new spectra. Okay, and the pulse, number of pulses and the angle of degree of pulse, and that how much relaxation time they give between the two pulses, and the time difference is very important, and where it is recording, which kind of pulse they are recording, or acquisition time. These are all play very important role in deciding the NMR technique. And one more thing is, they would like to, during that playing with the relaxation time, they are just trying to transfer the polarization of one nuclei to another nuclei. These are all different techniques by which they play, different modification they do to produce another technique, and it is day by day growing. Okay, let us see some of them. For example, for a COSY, they give a 90 degree, there is a preparation time, and they give a 90 degree pulse, and after that they will give a relaxation time. This is called the time for evolution, and they give some time for evolution before it completely relaxes. Before it completely relaxes, they give another pulse. Before it completely relaxes, they give another 90 degree pulse. During that time, in the relaxed energy is actually transferred to another nucleus, and they can able to study the coupling between them. And this is the, and then they allow to relax again, and this is a detection time. There is a time for mixing time. They are playing with the time, as I said already, and this is how they record COSY. What is the use? What is the use of doing that? Because we know in one dimension NMR, take an example, this is the NMR spectrum of ethyl 2-butanate. Ethyl 2-butanate. You can see here ethyl, ethyl means there is CH3 and CH2. For example, you consider that there is a ethyl group, and you must have a CH3 and CH2 group, and there is 2-butanate, and there may be CH3, CH2. Okay, and in that there is ethyl group, and you have that kind of structure. Okay, for example, you take, there is a CH3 and CH2, they must be connected. And how we found, actually in NMR we found that ethyl group and this CH3 and this CH3 and this CH2. You can see here there must be some CH2 group which are interconnected each other. Okay, this is CH and CH. Here you get a CH2 here. Okay, we get we found they are interconnected. How we decide that these two are connected? Just by seeing the chemical shift value and the multiplet structure, and we conclude that since it is a quadrate, we think that it has to be connected to a CH3. That is the thing that we observe, since it is a quadrate. And here we see a triplet, that it is connected to a CH2 group. And these two information says that these two signal are interconnected, that we guess. For example, if you imagine if there are several quadrate CH2 here, and finding it, joining together which CH3 is connected to which CH2 will be much difficult. If the structure is so simple, we are just making the guess, we are just making the guess that since it is a quadret and it is a triplet, and therefore these two peaks has to be connected to each other. This is our guessing. If there is more such peaks, then we will be confused to where it has to be connected. Okay, that is the problem for the bigger molecule. The 2D NMR. Coming to the 2D NMR, the 2D NMR will directly give which hydrogen is connected to which hydrogen. It will directly give. Here we make a guess by seeing the pattern or by seeing the chemical shift value. We make a connection. The instrument doesn't make any connection between the signals, and we actually make the connection. But in 2D NMR, the instrument itself will give you which two protons are connected, which are not connected. Okay, let us see the 2D NMR of the compound. Okay, for example, if you see this compound, this is not ethyl 2-benzenate, butanate. Okay, I wanted to give an example. If you take this kind of molecule, 1D NMR will not give enough information because there are OH here OH is here OH, here OH, and you will get several signal, and you cannot find which OH is connected to which carbon. That very difficult. And there are CH3, several CH. Here one CH3, here one CH3, and here one CH3. At least these CH3 are different, therefore you can just find out. But it is very difficult, and you can see the CH bonds here. Here there is a CH2, and all these will confuse in a one-dimensional NMR. But in two-dimensional NMR, you can see here. But in two-dimensional NMR, they will clearly say which hydrogen is connected to which. Okay. For example, this is a COSI of. A COSI is a two-dimensional NMR. We can see this is one proton NMR. The same proton NMR is given here in y-axis and x-axis. You can take same. It is this is one dimension. This is another dimension of the signal. The same signal is starting from 0 to and several ppm here, and similarly from 0 to the same ppm here, same spectra. Okay, this you can see here, there is a CH3 proton is here, this is CH3, and similarly this is CH3, this is a CH3. Okay, and B, you can see this is B, CH2. Similarly, CH2 is here. It is, but the thing is here, if you get dots, and these dots are the signals in 2D NMR, and these dots says the correlation about the spectroscopy signal between. If there is a correlation between, if the two signal couple each other, then there will be a signal. If they don't couple, there will not be any signal. For example, and this CH3 and this CH3, these two are same, and therefore there is a relation between these two, A and A. It will couple with itself, and therefore there will be a diagonal peak for every CH. The CH3 at this ppm, at the same ppm you have correlation. There is the proton will correlate itself. That peak is you can see in the they are called as diagonal peaks, and the diagonal peaks do not give any information because it correlates itself. That means the CH3 correlates with the CH3. This CH3 correlates with this CH3, and there is no information coupling. But the other peaks, other than the diagonal, the other peaks are called as cross peaks, and these cross peaks are very much useful in finding the interaction between the molecules. or interaction between the proton, which proton couples with which, that we have to, and which proton is connected to which. When there is a coupling, and in NMR we see only J coupling, and J coupling is due to only adjacent proton. That means the two protons are connected to each other by 1 to 2 bond distance. Okay, and these peaks actually directly give you information which is connected to which. Okay, you can see these, you just forget about the diagonal peak because they give no information. Only the cross peaks give information. If you take this cross peak number 1 here, you can see this cross peak in one dimension it connected to the triplet CH2 B. Okay, the proton that is denoted as B. Okay, this is in another dimension. There is another NMR which is connected to A. Okay, triplet to A. Therefore, this peak says that this CH2 and this CH3, A and B, are directly connected through J coupling. These two signals directly connected through J coupling. Okay, we can say, therefore A and B are connected, and it is a direct information. You can see if this B and D, you can see there is no peak here, there is no dot here, there is no signal here. That means and B and D are not connected. B and D are not connected. You can see here. And similarly, you can also take here A. This is the signal of D and this is signal of A. In this point, there is no signal. That means A and D are not connected. Only which the protons which are connected to each other, they will give a cross peak. And from there, we can find out which proton is connected to which proton. And therefore, you can say A is connected to, and this signal actually connected to this signal. And therefore, while writing the structure, you have to write this fragmentation and this fragment together. That is the information. The another cross peak is at 2. You can see there is E. The signal which is a quadrant E which is connected to D. Okay, you can see D is connected to E. This is D and here it is E. E and D are connected, and that is shown by a cross peak here. And the E and D are connected. Here you can also see E and D are connected. Okay, and this information you can see here D, which is a doublet, D and E are connected. Is that correct? Yes, D and E are connected to each other. And these cross peaks actually gives information where to connect, which is not given by an NMR, one-dimensional NMR. And this will be useful for connecting protons which actually couples with which. If it is a simple molecule, we can just find out by one-dimensional. If it is a bigger molecule, we find it difficult to find out which proton is connected to which, and in that case, the two-dimensional NMR helps a lot. This is Cauchy. And here you can see some peaks, but it is just the mirror image of this peak. Okay, it is just a mirror image of this peak, and therefore we can see here it is there A with B. A with B, correlation between A and B you can find, that we have already seen. Correlation between A and B we have already seen here. Okay, it is a reflection of the same peak here. Okay, and therefore it is enough to analyze only this one half of the cross peak. The another half is just the repetition of what is being studied in another half. Therefore, this is called Cauchy. I am not going to explain in detail about Cauchy. Will give only cross peak that is directly connect to each other. That is which is called as J coupling. J coupling. You can able to see cross peak only for J coupling. What about the adjacent? If there is 3 bond distance or 4 bond distance, can COSY able to detect? No, it is not able to detect. And for that we have another technique called as TOCSY. The TOCSY you can compare. This is TOCSY and COSY of this compound, the ketone, and this ketone name is around heptone. Heptone, 2 heptone, 3 heptanone. Okay, 3 heptanone. I think 1, 2, 3. It is a 3 heptanone. If you see here, this is COSY. For example, 1 and 2 are connected. 1 and 2 are connected. 6 and 5 are connected. COSY will give only information. As I said earlier, you forget about these diagonal peaks. Forget about all these diagonal peaks. You consider only the cross peaks. If you consider the cross peak, you can see here. That is at this peak actually you can consider the same way. There is a signal missing here. You can consider same signal here, 1 ppm, 2 ppm, like that. There is a cross peak you can find out here. That means here. But the cross peak you can see here that between this signal and this signal there is a cross peak. Okay. This signal, and therefore this signal and this signal both are connected. This is what this cross peak says. And these two signals are connected. What about this cross peak? And this signal and this signal, these two signals are connected. And therefore this proton and this proton connected, and which is shown by this cross peak. And this cross peak says, and this signal also connected. And therefore that must be as 4 and 5, like that. Only direct connection is shown here. Only you can see 3 cross peaks. 3 here you can see there is a 4 cross peaks. Only 4 cross peaks are there because there is one connection. Okay, here there is 2 connection, 3, 4. Only there are 4 coupling are possible, and therefore only 4 cross peaks are available. But you can see TOCSY. In TOCSY also you just leave the diagonal and leave the one half of the cross peaks. Take only one half of the cross peaks. And if you consider here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 peaks are there. They explain actually. Extended coupling. Okay, here only this signal and this signal is connected. This is what you can see from this cross peak. But here also you can see the peak. The same peak is here. This peak and this signal is connected. Apart from that, you can see this peak is missing there. This peak is missing there. That is 4 and 6 also connected. This is 5 and 6 are connected. That is and 4 and 6 also connected. 4 and 6 connected, which is explained by this peak. But this is not through J coupling, but through bond distance, through bond coupling to a distance. And you can also see here this peak is absent. This peak is absent in COSY. Okay, the difference between COSY and TOCSY is COSY will only give cross peaks only for the adjacent protons, but TOCSY will also give cross peak for a long protons which are at a distance. There is the 4 and 6 cross peaks is not observed in COSY, whereas it is observed in TOCSY. Okay, they will give the connection. This gives information which is connected to which. Okay, that will be very helpful for deducing the structure of the molecule. Okay, I think I am clear about COSY and TAXI. Similarly, and you have to remember one thing, there must be bond. There must be between bond CH3 and CH2. There is a bond. When there is a bond, then only we speak about J coupling. Here also there is a J coupling, and TAXI can able to study the extended J coupling to an extra distance, but through bond. But NOSI also will give, there is one spectrum called NOSI, which can also give, if you see the NOSI of this molecule, it will just look like TAXI. It will just look like a TAXI, but the difference is there. But the NOSI will give cross peaks for through space interaction. Here in TAXI, cross peaks are shown only between the proton which are connected through a bond. But NOSI will, even if there is no bond between two protons, if these two protons are in the proximity for about 5 to 6 picometers within the range, then they will give signal even if there is no bond, and that is the difference between NOSI and COSI. For simple molecule, if you take TAXI and NOSI, both of them will look similar. There won't be any change. For bigger molecule, protein like molecule, if imagine there is a long bond here, and there is one more hydrogen comes here to 4, okay, which are not connected through a bond. The bond distance is very long, but due to spatial arrangement of atom, if one atom comes in close proximity which are not at all connected through a bond, NOSI will give signal, but TAXI will not give the signal in such cases. That is NOSI and TAXI, the difference between TAXI and NOSI. Okay, and this spectrum is called the same ethyl to butanate, but it is a heteronuclear correlation. Earlier we saw this is homonuclear correlation. That means in one dimension this is proton NMR, in another dimension this is proton NMR, and therefore this is called as a proton-proton correlation. And that means this proton is connected to this proton is connected to this proton. This is what this signal says, and the correlation between this proton and proton, A proton and B proton. That's what we see. That is called COSY. There is another spectrum called heteronuclear correlation, in which there is in one dimension they will take proton NMR, in another dimension they will take carbon-13 NMR. And this spectrum, this COSY spectra will give you heteronuclear correlation spectroscopy, will give you correlation between proton and carbon. Since it is correlation between proton and carbon, there is no carbon-carbon correlation, you will not get a diagonal peak. When there is homonuclear correlation, then you will get a diagonal peak. In case of heteronuclear correlation, you don't get any diagonal peak, and therefore this two-dimensional NMR, one dimension we take proton NMR, in another dimension we take carbon-13 NMR, and this 2D NMR will give you the cross peak between carbon and hydrogen. Okay, that means the A is connected to A here, you can see here, but it is not proton. Here it is carbon, here it is proton actually, and here it is a carbon. That means this carbon and this proton are connected to each other, okay, through J coupling. This is what a heteronuclear correlation, and you can see which proton is connected to which carbon, that you can find using heteronuclear correlation. This is another spectroscopy. Okay, I already spoke about NOSI, and there are several other techniques. you can just in C13 NMR there is another one is called depth, distortionless enhancement by polarization transfer. This is another technique. You can see same ethyl to butanate. Here there is the pulse different, the angle of pulse that is different here. If the pulse is given at a 90 degree, 90 degree, then you will get a depth 90. If the pulse is given at 135 degree, then it is called as depth 135. If the pulse is given at 45 degree, then it is called depth 45. The depth 45, there is no difference. It is just the carbon 13 NMR spectroscopy. Not only the carbon 13, you can see the difference. You can see the carbon 13 NMR of which shows about all the carbon. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon are there. And you can see the 6 signal here in C13 NMR. But in depth 45, only CH3 and CH2 CH peaks will give you the signal. And you don't see any signal for carbonyl peak here. Okay. When the signal is given and when the radio pulse is given at 45 degree, and it gives the signals only for CH3, CH2 and CH. And if you take depth 90 for the same spectra, and you can see that will give only signals for CH protons, and therefore you can find only 2 signal in depth 90. Among the 6 you get only 2, and you can able to clearly distinguish. For simple molecule we need not, but for complex molecule this technique will be very helpful. How many CH is there, how many CH2 is there, and which is CH2 and which is CH3, you can easily find out using this technique. If you ask for depth spectrum, you will get all the spectrum collated one over the above. You will get spectrum like this. From this you can easily find out there are from carbon 13 NMR there are 6 carbon. Among the 6 carbon, 5 are contains hydrogen, 1 do not contain hydrogen. That is the information you get from depth 45. And among the 5 and 2 are CH protons. And if you record depth 235, the CH signal will look inverted. Okay, all the CH3 signals will be looking forward, and the CH2 signals are inverted, by which and you can differentiate between CH3, CH2, CH using this depth. These are some advanced technique by which you can find a direct correlation between proton and proton, and no bond correlation and through bond correlation, and there are several other techniques, and it is growing. And I invite all of you to study all these things. These are the information I would like to give about 2D NMR. The 2D NMR is another big ocean that you have to study, but it is simple. It may look like complicated to see the spectrum. If you practice to study the spectrum, it will be also useful. Okay, I wanted to throw an idea about 2D NMR. I think I have did that, and in another course we will see in detail. Okay, and therefore I would like to thank you all for the participation in the course. You may find your examination on Sunday around 5 to 6 p.m. Try to attend the program. Then finally I would like to thank you all of you. Thank all of you for the participation. For the 1 month we have been traveling in that organic spectroscopy. I tried to give my best to make you understand the spectroscopy, to work in spectroscopy, to elucidate structure of the compounds. Since our aim is only structural elucidation, I have skipped many of the theories, very important theories. It is very important to learn the theory part before you study the structural elucidation. I think I have given some input to you, and therefore the next I would like to run a course on the same spectroscopy as a complete theory, but it will take long time. It will take long time because I am planning to give the complete spectra starting from scrap. Even if you don't know what is called a spectroscopy, we will start from the scrap and we will learn all the physics and chemistry, all the instrument, practice, everything, and structural elucidation, including 2D NMR. I would like to give all the details in another, I will not call it as a workshop, because I called this is workshop because our aim is here only structural elucidation, but I would like to run a course, run a detailed course on complete spectroscopy. And one more thing I would like to say, through this course I'm also learning along with you, because I am very new to this online platform. This is the first time I am using Google Classroom, and I think I have successfully done that. I am a quick learner as usually, and I think I have done, and therefore I was also learning along with you some of the technique. This is the first time I am doing an online course, and this is the first time I am using Google, and this is the first time I am recording all these things. This is the first time, and therefore I think I have done my best to give you some input about the structural elucidation of compound. Since this is the first time, there may be some struggle and there are some technical glitch we came across while during the process, but not much. I could not able to post the videos on time because I was also new to this platform, but otherwise the course is went on well. I am very happy to complete the course, and I request you to introduce this course to your friends, your colleagues, or your students, whoever you know. The next level of learning, what I am trying to do next time is, there are 2-3 problem I identified in this course, that taking a course continuously, it is strenuous exercise for me actually. Strenuous exercise along with the regular class, and I am also head of the department. I am looking after other staffs and other planning online, all the several meeting I have attended. We have inaugurated first year. Among in all the within all this workload, I could able to do this course, and the same problem, the same difficulty you could have also faced. Keeping all this in mind, I am planning to conduct the certificate course in a different way. That is, number one, it will be a self-paced. We will not restrict to a particular time. Number two, we will not take lectures for 1 hour. Listening to a lecture for 1 hour or 1.5 hours is somewhat a tiresome process. If it is the only thing that I am doing, it will not be a tiresome process. Suppose if I am doing it along with my regular workload, it will be a tiresome process. Therefore, I would like to give only small video, not more than 15 minutes, concept by concept. In this workshop we have covered most of the, if I take IR, I covered all the IR principles and theories, all the concepts in one class or two class. We will not go like that in the course that is coming. We will take one concept that we will explain clearly. We will close that video. We'll take the next concept in the next video, and you can take your own time to complete the course. This is my plan, and starting from the scrap, all the principles, all the theories, all the calculations, theoretical part calculations, and all the instrumentation, the working of instrumentation, all those things, and even structural elucidation completely I would like to give. If you are interested, and I also request you to introduce this course for your colleagues or your friends or your students to join in the course. That I will post after the course is over. In order to get the certificate, all of you please go through the examination that is coming on Sunday, and also complete all the progress. And one more request I would like to place in front of you. Can you please write a testimony for me? Just a simple testimony for me about the course and how you have been how it has been useful to you, right? I will give a format. Please give a testimonial about this course with using your photo on one side, and your name and designation and place, all this, and a few lines about the experience you had in this course. Kindly give that testimonial. I will be also very happy if you record a video about the course and send it to me personally. I will be very happy to listen to that. Okay, I think thank you. I think you will be doing that. Thank you very much, and get prepared and attend the examination well. All the best. See you in another occasion. Thank you very much.